This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 428.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology.
Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. First, word of warning, if I start to cough, it's because I have a sore throat, and I'm coming off of a COVID, I don't know what it was. I think it was just a head cold, personally. But that's just me. Anyway, so if you hear me cough and hack up along, you know why. Anyway, moving on, upcoming events. There are no WordCamps next weekend, sadly, and yeah, that's unfortunate. But there is a job I wanted to share with you all. It is over at LifterLMS. My buddy Chris Badget posted this on Twitter. He's looking for a head of growth marketing to take some of the things off of his plate. He's a co-founder, co-owner. He does all the things. He's amazing. And I do want to have Chris on the show eventually one day. Maybe I should just have him on and then just give me the job. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, but he'll be on in upcoming weeks. So I'm going to reach out again to see if we can't get that scheduled. He's a great guy. So if you're looking for a marketing role, definitely check it out. I'll put a link in the show notes. All right, moving on. Segment one in the news. Two things to talk about here. First and foremost, WordCamp US 2022 is set for San Diego. And there's now a venue and a hotel in mind. It's called the Town & Country, San Diego. I've been there. As some of you may know, I went to college in San Diego. So I've actually spent some time at that hotel. I know where it is. It's a nice venue. It'll be cool. So there's that. And also in the news, WordPress 6.0 RC1 stands for Release Candidate 1 has been released as well. So you can continue testing that if you are helping that team as well. All right, moving on. Segment 2, the meat potatoes of this week's episode, stress testing WordPress. Now, this week I'm talking about stress testing your website, specifically WordPress, because a friend of mine has having issues with one of his sites. Well, actually, in their case, the whole company thing, they run a big multi-site, slowing things down to a crawl, timeouts, error 500s, etc. And you may have had this happen to you. It's happened to me, and you're not sure where it is. Is it the hosting? Is it you? Is it your site? It could be a rogue plugin, a process that's not cycling through. Hard to say. So with that, and with 200 days until Black Friday, as of the day this episode drops, maybe now's the time to test your site under load and stress versus the day of when you have a major problem on your hands. Okay, so quick definition, a WordPress stress test or a loading test, it's pretty much just a method which you can send a certain amount of traffic to a particular website. Yours, you want to make sure you own it first and foremost, by the way. And there's a little thing in here how this happened once. You can see how things work when it gets a lot of traffic. Okay. And you can also do this in different environments, scenarios, and times of day, peak hours, off-peak hours, because you want to kind of compare and contrast how things work. Okay, so before you begin the stress test, again, it's like just sending fake content, fake visitors, if you will, to your site. But keep in mind, first and foremost, if you have a WordPress hosting plan that limits the bandwidth you get, you may not want to do this full force because you may hit your limit. And some hosts these days do limit the bandwidth. Okay, so be careful on that, or your costs could skyrocket really during that test time frame. So also when you run a stress test, keep this in mind as well. For load balancing, for load issues, you may block out some users because it can't respond to it. If your hosting doesn't provide enough bandwidth, real live people may not be able to get to the site. So two things to think about right there. Okay, so there are how to stress it. First, how to stress the test. How to stress test your WordPress. That's a lot of words, I'm sorry. But there are some tools that perform this for you that are zero cost, some that charge a lot of money. So for no cost at all, we can always test the loading speed. Basic way to do this would be to see how long it take for your website to load. You can do it yourself, or you can use a service and a tool like Pingdom or GT Metrics. And of course, website loading speed is going to vary based on time of day, based on browser, based on internet connection, based on location of you versus the server in question, or caching or CDNs. So take that in consideration for one. Now, and that's something we all have done. And we have clients who do it for us. And I say that, clients for us in kind of air quotes, because it's not the best thing to have clients do for you, but they're convinced that it makes the biggest difference, when sometimes it really doesn't. But moving on to deeper testing, you might need a service, and those are going to mostly charge you for them. I did find one that was free. I tested it out. I'll tell you about it in a second. The 3 or 4 that I found here, one was called LoadForge. There's also Loader.io. There's also Load Impact. Load Impact changed their name, I'm not sure how long ago, to K6. I don't know why. And I was like, well, let me check these out and see how these really work. So I signed up for, which one? Loader.io, because there was a free package level. It was easy enough. I put in my email address. I confirmed my email. And then here's the kicker. They want to make sure that you own the site, because they don't want you to be, hacking at someone's site or taking someone down for like a DDoS attack, because that's what this could do in theory. Also, you could deny your own service. So I had to upload a text file to confirm that I own the domain in question, which really not that hard, through SFTP as well. Once I did that, I created a test over at Loader.io. And again, not a commercial for them, just as what I did and how I tested it, and results I got. I created the name of a test. I picked how many clients I wanted. I picked 100 clients over 1 minute of time. Again, I wasn't not looking to do a heavy test on KitchensinkWP, by the way. You have a method of how you want to test. You can get, put, patch, or delete. The URL of the test, you could use the root domain, or you can use a specific page if you're you want to see how things work on a specific, maybe a sales item or a page or the store kind of thing. And you can also run it right then, save it for later, or save it. You don't have to run it. You can run the test right then and there. You can save that test for later, or you can schedule it for later, which is interesting as well. Because, like I said moments ago, you want to schedule. You're going to want to do this tests more than once. You want to schedule it during peak hours of whatever that might be for you, and off-peak hours, whatever that might be for you. So I ran it, and after I ran it, moments after it was done, I got an email with the results, which I thought was pretty nifty. It's pretty cool. A, that email came really fast. B, once the email came through, I could kind of dive in a little bit to see what happened, simulations of what was going on, confirm that the site maintained uptime, and it was pretty cool. So all that said, keep in mind, Black Friday, Cyber Monday may not be your most important day of the year for your website, for sales. Maybe it's Mother's Day. Maybe it's Father's Day. Maybe it's Halloween. So pick accordingly, and just don't get caught with the down site on the most important days for traffic for you and your specific needs. And or if maybe you're just doing a launch. Maybe you're doing an e-commerce, not e-commerce, an ebook sale, or a new launch, whatever it may be. That might be the biggest day for you. So just make sure you have enough bandwidth to keep the site up and running. I'm curious, if you're out there and you've done some stress testing, you've had some interesting results, and you want to share, by all means, let me know. I'll share them here as well. So there you go. Just some things to take a look at and what you can do. Again, those sites I tried out. Well, I just tried out Loader.io. There's LoadForge and Load Impact because there was a free level that I wanted to try out. So, all right, that's it for that. Moving on to segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week's tip, it's more data and analytics kind of thing. It's called Clarity by Microsoft, which is not Clarity.fm, where you can go hire people to do consulting for you. So it's free. So it says Clarity is a free, easy-to-use tool that captures how real people actually use your site. It's over at clarity.microsoft.com. I was just poking around with it. Pretty cool. Kind of neat. It's like heat maps. It's what's that other one called? Crazy Egg? Is that what I think it was called back in the day? I think it's still around. Check it out. It's free. So I have no connection to them. Just want to share with you what I find out there that I think would be interesting for people to check out. All right, moving on here. That's it for this week. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@kitchensinkwp.com, or use the SpeakPipe function of the website. If you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon, kitchensink.com/Patreon. You can sponsor the show. There's a form on the website. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right, bye-bye.